And how was your week? Man, did I have a week? Did we have a week? We had an incredible week. The amount of emails, the amount of messages, the amount of calls I got was, quite honestly, it was almost overwhelming. And not in a bad way, but in a good way. You know, well, welcome to Bryce Unplugged. Saturday. I'm glad you're going to spend some time with me this Saturday. But I really want to talk to you about this week. What an incredible week! And I wanted to kind of break it down. The amount of Me Too's, the amount of same here, I feel the way, I feel this way, I feel validated, care partners saying I finally understand my loved one. Um, when you see the amount of people that said the same thing in the comments of the last two videos, last two episodes, it's overwhelming. And it's heavy, it's really heavy. And not in a bad way, but in a responsible way. Something shifted, something changed. And really, it was just breaking down that scientists or the research paper. And do you understand the significance of what that was, and which was amazing? And I'm so thankful. And if you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out. But you saw it, right? It resonated with you, and I guess maybe to get a little bit more personal with you, more deeper. Is that the right way to say it? But do you understand the depth of what that was? Is that when I started doing this, I started just sharing, and people started saying, "Hey, you're saying words that I think, and they're putting the words to something that I didn't know how to put the words to." And the truth is, there's a lot of things I didn't know how to put the words to. The reality is this: is that in this disease, that's what, a 200-year-old disease, we're like the early adopters. Do you realize that we're ahead of the curve? We're in phase one. We're in the phase where things that we're talking about aren't recorded in the medical journals, right? The doctors are doing their very best. But when they follow the book, we're not in the book, right? We're rewriting the book. Do you understand? By people like us speaking out, right? And people that have been doing it and speaking out to the doctor and saying, darn it, there's a lot more to this than that meets the eye. It's a lot more than a tremor. There's something else, and I can't put my finger on it. The brain fog, the forgetting things, just all the memory, all these things that in the early years were dismissed. As time went on, they said, I've been hearing that, but still not medically proven. And the truth is, we don't have to be justified by research and science to know we weren't crazy. But sometimes it feels good, doesn't it? To know that, that I was wrong, that you weren't wrong. And I'm going to tell you something wild, but I had a phone call. I had a lot of contact from a lot of people that were getting it for the first time. I'm not talking about people with Parkinson's, people without Parkinson's, because that's the difference. They couldn't understand even what that report meant, because unless you're living with this, you don't get it. Even our loved ones, and I love them so much, right? We love our loved ones, and they're trying so hard, but unless you have Parkinson's, you just don't understand Parkinson's. Some of us barely understand Parkinson's. But just to know that we're being heard, that we're being seen, that people are going, maybe there's something to this, to investigate, to investigate, to do research on it, to bring it further and deeper than just us. But that's our responsibility now. You realize, right? And mine as well. Like mine is we need to keep telling people what it's really like, right? What it's really like. And I've been, that's I've been aiming to do that since the very beginning. I try not to sugarcoat things. I mean, the reality of this whole thing is it stinks, it sucks, it's awful, right? We have good days, bad days. It's unpredictable. But probably the worst part is not knowing what tomorrow's going to look like, and if it's different, why is it different? It gets so confusing and so cluttered. But really, what our responsibility is to keep shouting from the rooftops that this is how it is, and this is the way it is. And I thought about this. I used to, And I was a proponent of this too. You say, we're all snowflakes, right? We're all different. Everybody, not one person with Parkinson's is the same. There's a joke they say, if you've met one person with Parkinson's, then you've met one person with Parkinson's. And to a degree, I guess that's true. But I'm going to disagree with it now. And I want you to think about this and just hear this. They say we're all different because they say all the symptoms are different. People, it's different day to day. Everybody's is a little different. But the reality is that's on the outside, isn't it? The truth is, we're all the same. We are all the same because we all worry about what tomorrow's going to look like, if this thing's going to change, if it's going to progress. We go through that. We go through the angst of not knowing what's happening, and if it does change, why did it change? We go through all of that together. We all do. Every one of us does. So technically, and the reality is, we are all the same. So you are not alone, and I'm not alone, and we're not alone. So we need to band together. We need to come together as a community, as people, and the only people who truly get it are people that are like you, right? I can get that. I get that from you, and I understand it. So when you say "me too" in the comments, or you say, I'm the same way, or I'd feel less alone, good. But let's keep it that way. Let's continue moving forward, because we need us more than we know we need us. And I hope that makes sense, period. And as we transfer into this, I believe we're coming into this new realm, right? This validation. We felt validated, right? We felt validated, but again, now what? And the weight of what we're doing is we're changing the wording. We're changing the way Parkinson's is going to be thought about and talked about. And there's a responsibility and a weight to that. But there's also kind of a pleasure in that. I think about something shifted. I felt the shift this week. And with that shift comes responsibility, and that's heavy. That can be really heavy. This is just a raw, how I'm feeling right now. And I'm being just vulnerable and honest with you. It feels heavy because you feel the responsibility of people using your wording, the way you frame things, to become the new normal of how we think of it. And it's not something I take lightly. I take it very seriously. But it's not going to change anything. It's going to change the way I do things. I mean, I just real honest and say it like it is. If it's bad, it's bad, or when it's bad, it's bad, and when it's good, and whatever. But the reality is that yes, I want to squeeze every ounce of life I can get out of this life, right? I want to have the best life. I want to live my life. I want to just do everything. But there are days that it just absolutely stinks, and there's days that that is bad, and I'll tell you the truth, and I am honest with it. There's bad days, but man, we're doing this. We are going to change this. We are going to change the way that people think, the way that people perceive Parkinson's around the world. And I think that's pretty exciting. But it doesn't change anything. I'm still going to be doing my regular episodes, and still going to come here on Saturdays with Unplugged and just be raw and vulnerable and real with you. And we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. And that's just being honest. It's being real. And we're going to continuing on. But yeah, that's the bottom line. So, we can all be free in the fact that, finally, maybe science and research is going to catch up to us, because we're the front runners, we're the early adopters, which is crazy. That makes me mad to say that a disease this old is still has so many questions around it. But it's changing. It's changing, and we need to keep changing it. And as I said in the last video, or the video before last, we need to keep now walking in this walk, being honest, advocating for ourselves and our doctors, not backing down, and just being real and honest with people and telling people what it's really like. We really do. And that's going to change things. It's going to change things. Because there's a heck of a lot of people out there who are suffering right now that still feel very alone, that still feel that no one understands them, that still feels that they're the only ones, that still doesn't even understand what's going on. So let's take that on. Let's inform the world and them that number one, they're not alone. They're not a snowflake. They're not the only one who goes through what they're going through. And let's band together. Let's band together and let's really, 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 really push to get this thing done once and for all. There you go. That's how I'm feeling. Real honest. No script. It's just the way it is. But yeah, I mean, it's exciting to see when things happen the way they happen. But it's just staying grounded and that, we kind of have a mission and we're on a mission. I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission. I'm going to change the world. I want to change the world, and I can't do it by myself. It takes thousands and thousands and thousands of us. Start walking the walk and talking the talk. But I'm glad that you found me, and I'm glad that I found you. And let's keep exploring ways that we can, find new ways to live better, find new ways to conquer this thing better, and let's just find new ways that we can connect, because community is huge. So let's mobilize this community. Let's go out. Let's kick some ass, right? Let's kick some ass and take names. What did it say? Take names, kick some ass. Let's go eat someone's lunch. Let's go burn down the barns. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm excited about what's going on. I'm excited where we're headed, and I'm excited that you're here, and I'm excited you're on the way. So, if you have any questions, any comments, anything you want to say, leave them in there. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep showing up. Let's keep being real. Let's keep doing life today. Me and you, we got this. All right, we'll talk to you soon.